Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Dust, and I'm the chair of the Thompson Inland Wetlands Commission, and I'm calling this June 11th, 2004 meeting of the commission to order at 7:02 p.m. We're meeting via Zoom, and so the following procedures are in effect. The session is being recorded for audio and visual content and is under the control of the Zoom host. To ensure good sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute. Commissioners and staff will generally remain muted except when speaking or voting, and will generally be keeping video of themselves on throughout the meeting. Applicants and members of the general public should feel free to leave their video on or off. However, they will be asked to turn their video on when speaking. If video is not an option for you, that will not preclude you from speaking at the appropriate time or listening to the meeting. During the meeting, everyone is asked to state their name each and every time they speak for the record, and please use the raise your hand feature to let me and the host know that you wish to speak. Members of the general public may only speak during the portion of the meeting set aside for citizens' comments on agenda items. Individuals, applicants, permittees, violators, or their representatives who are listed in the agenda will be invited to speak when that item is discussed. If you have documents to submit to the commission which were not distributed in advance of the meeting, please indicate that you wish to submit those documents. You will need to hold them up to the camera so that the commission and all members of the public can view them. In addition, you'll be required to email an electronic version of the document in PDF format or a suitable photograph of it to the Inland Wetlands agent at wetlands@thompsonct.org. That person will ensure that those documents are included in the permanent records of the commission. If a member of the general public tries to communicate at a time other than that set aside for citizens' comments on agenda items, speaks out of order, or if any person creates an audio or video disturbance, they may be ejected from the meeting by the Zoom host upon my request. Those are the preliminaries. I will now call the roll. Commissioner Morano is absent. Commissioner Obert. I think I just spoke with him and he will be joining us shortly, I hope. I'll come back to him. Commissioner O'Neill.
Present.
Present. And we do have an alternate, I believe, in the meeting. Is Commissioner Langer, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. We can hear you now. Seeing as we do not have 5 regular members in attendance at this meeting.
Commissioner Ober just joined.
He did. Okay, so we should, Commissioner Obert should be marked present. But seeing as we still do not have 5 regular members of the commission at this meeting, it is my privilege to seat our alternate. So, David, you will be participating in this meeting. The next item on the agenda, if I'm not mistaken, is the approval of minutes. I will share my screen so that we can see those. Let's see. Okay. Didn't do this properly. Sorry, I had to, okay. I haven't given this laptop permission to do this sharing. It will only take a moment. Okay, good. Okay. Okay. All right, just a moment. Okay, we're still not doing that, are we? Okay. All right. Do you see what I see?
We do.
Okay. And what you should see is the agenda item C, and I can make that a little larger. So beginning with the minutes of the May 14th regular meeting. We have had a chance to review those. Are there any corrections to these minutes? Commissioner Obert.
I'd like to move that we approve them.
Wonderful. Do I have a second for that?
I second the motion, Commissioner
Okay.
O'Neill.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the minutes of the May 14th, 2024 regular meeting are approved as written. The minutes of the May 22nd, 2024 special meeting. Any corrections to those? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Obert. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Commissioner O'Neill seconds that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion passes, and the minutes of the May 22nd, 2024 special meeting are approved. This will take a while because the minutes of the special meeting were substantial. Okay. There we go. Okay, the next item on the agenda is citizens' comments on agenda items. And a reminder that this portion of the meeting is set aside for citizens' comments. It is not intended as an exchange between citizens and members of the commission. No citizens' comments, then we'll move along to agenda item E, old applications. This is a declaratory ruling 24011 Hemlock Properties LLC, 0 Riverside Drive, map 55, block 65, lot 15, a timber harvest, submitted originally on April 24th, statutorily received on May 14th, and inspected by our newly appointed inland wetlands agent, whom I have the special pleasure of welcoming to this, her first meeting. So, Margaret, perhaps you'd like to comment on this?
Thank you. This is Margaret speaking. I did go out on June 4th and met with John Clark, the forester. Luckily, there is an existing crossing that's almost wide enough for the skidder, but they expect to have to put some corduroy, meaning logs, on temporarily on either side of the crossing, and then they'll remove them after the timber harvest. And I did take some photos so you can see that existing crossing where the water, those photos were taken by Cindy when she inspected, but the water flows through the rocks under this existing crossing, so it's almost an ideal situation. If it were just a few feet wider, they wouldn't need to put down the logs at all.
Yes, and here's your report.
So I recommend approving this declaratory ruling.
And these are your photographs.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Do we have an idea on the timeline on this process?
Is anyone here to represent the project?
I was looking for the application to see if there was a timeline. This estimated starting date is June 1st. This is
Oh, that should be fine.
Yep. Completion.
Right, estimated completion date is July 1st.
Yeah.
Good. I make a motion to approve this application for timber harvest.
Do I have a second on that?
Commissioner O'Neill, I second the motion.
Any discussion? If not, if we are ready to vote, all those in favor of approving this
Aye.
request?
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, the request is approved. Thank you. The next item is IWC 24013, Jason Smith, 0 Aquatic Town Farm Road, map 160, block 11, lot 15, a permit application to fill inland wetlands and install culverts on a water course associated with the construction of an access drive for an unidentified residential home. And I will pull that up as soon as I can get there. There we go. This was submitted on May 2nd, statutorily received at our last meeting on May 14th. The commission reviewed this at the May 14th meeting. Is there, Margaret, is there any additional information or questions or concerns you would have us be aware of?
I have some comments. A portion of the driveway is actually located on land that isn't owned by the applicant. It's listed on its map 160, block 11, lot 16. The owner's name is Lamoth, and they are not listed as an owner in the application. They would be needing to sign as an owner or give an easement for this work that's shown on their property. That's my first comment. If you get to the plan, we can look at the spot where
Yeah,
the
I'm trying to.
driveway's on their land.
Voluminous.
Say something?
There we go. Okay. Is it this one or the next?
We're negotiating the easement. It's
Right there at the top of that wetland, the driveway's on someone else's land. That's a property line corner. And those people are named Lamoth.
Right.
And they're
Margaret,
not,
oh, I'm sorry, continue.
you can see their name now, Joseph and Suzanne Lamoth. So they would need to be listed as an owner in this application, and they would need to give written permission and/or an easement for this work done on their property.
I see a hand up, and I believe that's Jason Smith or a representative, the applicant or a representative of the applicant.
Yes, it's Megan. Megan Staples, representative for Jason Smith. Jason is my partner. So we are negotiating an easement with the neighbor. He has already given us permission. We're working on getting all of that legally taken care of through the attorneys, but we have already discussed this with them.
Margaret, did you have any, Commissioner Ober?
Yes, I remember when we walked that site, I think all of us were far more interested in how the road was gonna skirt the wetlands. I hadn't thought about the property. But I think Margaret's correct, and I understand the applicant's position. Yet I think it's important that all the documents are in their hands before we can approve it. It seems a small issue. I can't envision it being a problem, but I've seen
Actually,
worse.
So as long as it's okay with the commission that we have the owner, Joseph Lamoth, we can have him sign the application. Suzanne Lamoth now lives in North Carolina. And they have shared ownership of the property, but she is no longer speaking to Mr. Lamoth, and they don't generally have contact. The Mr. Lamoth, Joseph Lamoth, his current partner, Tracy, they live at the property and are very happy to sign anything that we need. We met them the very first day that we went out with Lori, and they were extremely receptive to allowing us to put a driveway through the property. So we're happy to have him sign the application if the commission is okay with that. Our only other option is to put the driveway through the wetlands. The reason why we wanted the easement was so that we could not go through the wetlands. When we spoke to the neighbors, they were concerned that Rodney, the previous owner, had already done alterations to the wetlands that weren't permitted. We know that he had had violations before, that Cindy had brought up. So this was our solution to get a driveway to the most contiguous upland on the property without having to put driveway through the wetlands. So anything the commission can do to allow us to stay out of the wetlands, we would.
We need to get the front culvert built to even start that. So.
Commissioner Ober.
Yes, I understand what our applicant is saying, and I completely agree with her. But the law says that we can't authorize any kind of work on property unless the owner comes in as part of the application. It seems a very small issue, but it's one of those crazy things that leads to hundreds of billable hours with lawyers. And I don't want any of us to have to go through that. What's the timeline? We've looked at the property. We received the application. Are we required to vote on it tonight, or can this? I don't think we can vote on it until the last piece is documented.
Margaret, do you have a comment to make?
I agree with Commissioner Obert that it's absolutely necessary for both owners to sign, from past practice, from years and years of doing permitting in both two states. Both owners need to sign. Also, I have some more information to the effect that the commission can't approve it tonight because no one ever paid any application fee. I've got a list of other comments. We haven't received any fees. The owners listed as Land Partner Funding LLC, 1846 East Rosemead Parkway, number 5007, Carrollton, Texas. There's no zip code. We don't have any contact phone number for the owners, which would be helpful. The name of the owner where the telephone number is left blank. There's no legend on the plan indicating what any of the various layers of lines represent. I'm not sure whether this commission has approved in the past the use of 12-inch compost silt socks because this is my first meeting working with you folks. No soil stockpile areas are shown. There's no stump stockpiling area or no log and tree stockpiling area is shown because there's going to be an awful lot of trees coming down, and the plan needs to show where all the soil stumps and logs and trees would be stockpiled with the appropriate erosion control measures if needed, if they're in the upland review area. The area of wetland disturbance is not clearly shown. The plan lists that there's 500 square feet plus or minus of wetland alteration, but it doesn't show anywhere which 500 square feet those are. It should be crosshatched or somehow other indicated exactly where the 500 square feet are. The detail shows two parallel culverts, and it isn't clear to me whether the footing is in the stream. I don't know, Chairman Dustin, if you're able to zoom in on the detail for the crossing or the where the crossing is shown, but
On this,
I have some questions about what those dark black lines are there on either side of the stream. Are those wing walls?
the applicant has her hand up. The chair recognizes the applicant.
So I can I can address some of this now. Land partner funding is not the owner of the property. Jason Smith is. I believe that I believe that there's some stockpile area shown on the plan, but I can't quite see it. I'm on a cell phone, unfortunately. I don't have a webcam. Um, the the proposed culvert is outside of the stream. That part of the it's a drainage ditch that was dug through an old farm field, and there's stone on either side that's built up. And we're proposing going into the area that's already been built up on either side outside of the stream so that it's already very stable. The wetland pattern gets very diffuse on one side and everything is very mushy and not very good. And then we're trying to avoid, there's already a very small culvert on the other side underneath the neighbor's yard. We're trying to stay away from that as well.
Thank you.
Well, there is a detail of a crossing. There's a small on the towards the bottom of the plan. There's an image of the culvert, which looks like it's two culverts. I think it's up. If you go back up to the first page, it's to the right on the plan. If you
It's
scroll
a
over to
single open bottom culvert.
There it is.
there, it is. And so, well, the small box on the right side of this detail looks like it's showing a footing in the middle between two culverts.
No, there's no footing in the middle. There's a footing on either side, and there's only one culvert, and it's 5 feet wide, and it goes up and over the stream. There's no tubes, and there's only one.
What wanted that?
What the detail in the bottom right corner there, the smaller of the two rectangles, it looks like there are two culverts. That little box. What's that? What is that showing?
That's a standard detail to show it's from the manufacturer. We didn't put that cutout in there. We have to reach out to them for their specifications. They may be showing two culverts, but on our plan, drawn physically inside of the data, it only shows one, and we're showing the main detail here, which is one. We're not proposing two. That's why there's not two labeled on the plan.
Well, going back to the area where the culvert would be installed, there's nothing on the plan showing which 500 square feet are going to be impacted. And so
it's the 500 square feet is all of the area for the driveway and stockpile area within the flagged wetlands.
it needs to be shown clearly on the plan, though. And so my advice, since the application hasn't been paid for and there's issues with owners signing for work done on their property who aren't listed. Also, there's an issue with, Megan is saying that Jason Smith is the owner, but we are required to go by the owner listed on the assessor's record. And Jason Smith is not listed as the owner of record in the town records. And so I would suggest that
Friday. They closed last week. He has a deed to the property.
I would suggest that the commission could recommend that the applicant withdraw without prejudice and come back with a more complete plan and the fees, at which time the commission can consider a full-blown application with all the owners signed on the form.
Commissioner Obert, you have.
Yes. What our applicant is saying, a lot of those things I recall, especially the design of that culvert. But what Ms. Washburn is saying is also accurate, because what we're looking at here is a legal contract. And if we approve it and we can't because it's an incomplete application at this point. So we need to have that ambiguity removed and then bring it back to us, and it should fly right through. Those of us that were there know that you're trying to take consideration and to protect the wetlands, but it doesn't say that on this form as it is right now. And it could create problems that you don't want, that we don't want. So that's my suggestion, as Ms. Washburn said. It really hasn't been received as an application because it's missing information and there was no fee.
Thank you.
No fee was paid. So
Are the
all we're
other,
doing tonight is discussing the fine points of the plan and advising the applicant, get these things in writing, and we will fly through with this.
There's one other thing that's missing from the plan, which is that they required to show the location of the proposed house, even if it's outside the upland review area, because we need health department approval before we can approve a location for a house. And I don't know that I haven't seen anything from the health department demonstrating that this lot will support a septic system and a well.
We've had soil testing done already and it passed. So we do have documents from NDDH already.
So let's
Okay,
just bring them all together.
The
I'd like
plan
all
needs to
together
show the
and we're done.
location of the proposed house.
if I could step in, I'd like to make sure that other commissioners have, if they have anything to say, that they have the opportunity to share their thoughts. If not, then Margaret, can we, and I assume the answer to this question is yes, can we enumerate these concerns for the applicant to make this process manageable, the applicants, for them?
Right now,
They can do their best to satisfy those concerns. And you'll have to advise me procedurally. Your suggestion was to withdraw the application without prejudice. Is, in your view, is that the best course of action to take and to
well,
submit an?
the other option would be to deny as an incomplete application.
Right.
And you can choose either recommendation, or you can do it as you wish, of course, with whatever I recommend at any time.
Commissioner Oberg.
Yes, I want to remind the rest of the commissioners who were at the lengthy discussion that updated our regulations. The application, in order to be received, has to have those things that we listed, which include the names of the owners. And in this case, it will have to show both owners signing off, especially for that right of way. The rest of the stuff, I seem to remember seeing evidence of the perk test when we were up there, but I've looked at a lot of properties in the last, little bit. So I don't believe that we are actually looking at an application now. It's incomplete. So I don't believe that the applicant would have to withdraw it or ask for an extension. It's still just, it's missing a few elements to for us to be able to act on it.
It should never have been quote unquote received because no fees were submitted. And so where someone else stamped this received on May 2nd, I honestly think that may have been something that probably shouldn't have happened. But it did it's stamped received, but asking these folks to withdraw and come back would probably be the cleanest way rather than giving them a denial. If Megan and Jason Smith are willing to withdraw without prejudice and come back with a complete application, we can start fair and square with some fees and all the missing data, which I can enumerate to them either tonight or in an email tomorrow.
Now, does that require a motion and a vote on our part?
No, it requires a request from the commission to withdraw without prejudice.
Okay. Does the commission agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, then that will be our decision at this point. Is that all we need to do, Margaret, procedurally to
If they agree to it.
Yes, we agree.
Megan? Okay. I do think it's important to make clear to the applicants what we think needs to be clarified for us so that they can do what they need to do. And
And a point of discussion here, some of these things had been finalized after we approved them at the special meeting and the public meeting where the vote was taken. We may have known this, but I'm not sure that we had all of that nuance in writing when we were going through the transition with different agents. So
yes,
I can see how that could be a confusing issue, and I really think that this will zip right through as soon as all the
particularly the matter of the fee, and we'll get the information we need to make a reasonable decision on this. In that case, I want to thank you all for your comments, and I think we can move on to the next agenda item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you, Megan. And thank you, commissioners. The next item is a declaratory ruling 24014. This is Carol Mead, 181 Linehouse Road, map 36, block 69A, lot 1A. This is a request for a jurisdictional ruling for grading in wetlands and upland review area to modify drainage entering the property from Linehouse Road, submitted April 26, 2024, and statutorily received on May 14th, 2024. Margaret, my understanding here is that you have requested a more detailed site plan and you have not received one yet?
We did not receive any plan showing the proposed work, so I wrote a letter to Ms. Mead, and I included in it a site plan that shows the portion of her property where water flows under Linehouse Road and where she seems to want to do work. But so we need a drawing showing exactly what she's proposing to do. There used to be a drainage ditch there, and I'm not sure whether she wants to reestablish that. She used some language in her application that was hard to understand because she's referring to a spillway. This is the detailed project description we got. Enlarge spillway from under road culvert and line with rocks to prevent erosion and allow more storage of water in heavy rains, and plant 20 to 30 feet of hedge hybrid willows to prevent erosion with their roots. And so there really isn't a spillway. And if you scroll down to the plan, which I think might be the last piece of paper in this portion of the Zoom documents, you will see that there was a delineated wetland here years ago down in the bottom left corner of that plan. That's the page.
Okay.
And so it sounds like she may be wanting to actually do work in wetlands. And we need to know, I sent her this plan so that she could draw on it and show us really what she's talking about doing. And another issue with this is that on her application form, she checked off 3 different boxes, which she's really supposed to only check one box. You know, Marla, my predecessor, Marla, took a look at this and she suggested that checking the box only in number 2A for conservation of soil, vegetation, water, fish, or wildlife would be sufficient. So not only do we need a drawing, but we need a plan that only shows one of these boxes checked.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, and I have not heard from Ms. Mead.
Well, it sounds as if in any case, we do not have sufficient information to make a decision on this at the present time.
So, right, and so in that case, I could recommend one of 2 things. You could table it or you could deny it based on an incomplete application.
Commissioners have any thoughts?
Commissioner O'Neill. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner O'Neill, I couldn't see you.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
going to suggest that, given the incomplete nature of the application and the more recently memorialized procedures, let's try to go forward. Incomplete apps, we should simply deny until they are complete.
Commissioner Obert.
Yeah, the only question, I would have said table it, but I can go either way. But my only question is, the work in the wetlands would all be done with hand tools, small amounts? That I didn't see any explanation on that. So that's something that is, again, information that would need to be presented in order to make a decision here.
Chairman Dustin, my sense is that the scope of the project remains unclear, and there are still so many gaps here that I would agree with Commissioner O'Neill and suggest that we declare this an incomplete application.
And so by that, you clarifying that you want to deny it as incomplete?
Yes.
Okay. That I think you should vote on.
Okay. Do I have I'll entertain a motion to deny this application on the grounds that it is incomplete?
I have a motion that we declare the application as incomplete. Commissioner O'Neill.
Do I have a second for that? Commissioner Obert,
I'll second that.
All those in, any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? None. Seeing none of the motion carries, and this application is denied, or this request is denied. Grounds that it's incomplete. Next item on the agenda. This is IWA 24015, formerly WAA 24015. Michael Johnson, 23 Sunny Lane, map 69, block 102, lot 4C, construction of a 30 by 40-foot garage in the Upland Review area, submitted in April 26, 2024, converted to individual permit application, statutorily received on May 14th, 2024. Margaret, what is the status of this? My sense is that there are still some missing ingredients here.
Well, Friday, he dropped off a check, so we got the fee. And what the situation is that he's very, very close to the town line with Putnam, and he gave us some photographs which showed that he's actually already worked beyond where he's proposing to put the sediment controls. And he did get a delineation done, and we got a report from Roger Gibson. And I discussed this one with Marla, and it was originally submitted as a wetland agent approval, and she recommended that and I agree that he needs a site plan prepared by a surveyor or an engineer locating those wetland flags and showing the work in relationship to the distance from the wetlands, and that it should go to as a wetlands individual permit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that actually officially happened yet. The reading through the minutes from the previous meeting, it was unclear to me, and so I'm recommending as the agent that I would rather defer to the commission on this one as an individual wetland application rather than an agent approval. And so I would recommend tabling this as an inland wetlands individual permit, and we'll be waiting for that plan, which he's agreed to do. It's just going to take him a few weeks because the surveyors are very, they're out of a few weeks from being able to get there.
Mm-hmm. Other commissioners have thoughts on this? Commissioner O'Neill, you look as if you might have.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you for recognizing me, Chair. I would concur with our agent's recommendation that, let's defer this or table it until the information is available to make an informed decision.
I
Commissioner
agree
Ober,
with that, and I'll point out also it's within the 500 foot of the bordering property, so they have to notify Putnam as well. I mean, it's bordering to Putnam.
Mhm.
I don't know all of the nuances of it, but I do know within a certain distance of the neighboring lines, those agencies have to be notified.
yes,
Good point.
yes. I agree with my fellow commissioners. I certainly would need a site plan to be able to render a decision on this. Do we need a motion to table?
I would like to ask if you could come to a consensus about agreeing that you'll accept it as a individual wetlands application rather than an agent approval,
Mhm.
if you would.
I thought we had discussed this at the last meeting, but I would certainly agree with this, but
I'd agree too. So I don't know. Does he want a voice comment? You've got one.
I think it was discussed, but Marla and I couldn't make head nor tails out of it after listening to the recording and looking at the minutes, whether it was officially turned from an agent approval to an individual permit. So I just thought clarification would be helpful.
Thank you. I think that absent a site plan, it should be an individual permit rather than an agent approval because we don't know enough. So I think you have your consensus, Margaret, if
All
that's
right, thank you very much.
welcome. Okay, next item on the agenda is Wesley Monson, 130 Jersey Road, map 36, block 68, lot 10, a construction of a 20 by 30-foot garage, a lot of garages, in Upland Review Area submitted May 7th, 2024, converted to an individual permit application statutory received on May 14th, 2024. And it was our wetland agent conducted an inspection on June the 4th. I will pull up your report. The idea. What's the trouble? Okay. So Margaret, would you like to read this to us or shall we read it?
Okay, I met Wesley Monson, inspected and took photos. Mr. Monson has already done site work without a permit, stockpiling boulders on the edge of an intermittent water course. Mr. Monson stated that the water overtopped the bank and flooded the cellar stairs. He piled the boulders to control the flooding in 2020. I can't tell whether the boulders were placed in a wetland, but it appears that they have been placed in a wetland. It's because the boulders have obscured what's lying under them. The corner of the garage closest to the wetlands, still visible, is about. I didn't word that very well. I think that he's only about 5 feet off of existing wetlands there, and I do think he disturbed some wetlands already. And he's done quite a bit of grading without a permit in the upland review area. And so I recommend that this one goes to the commission as an individual permit because I can't approve work in wetlands.
Mm-hmm. So could you clarify for me, the current status is as an individual permit rather than an agent approval? Did we discuss that
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought he had applied for an agent approval. Well, I think he did apply for an agent approval, and
originally?
I'm suggesting changing it to a wetland individual permit And I was hoping that the commission would concur with that tonight. Also, I think he needs a site plan with a wetland delineation to show exactly if the boulders are in a wetland or not.
Commissioner Obert, I see you.
Yes, I'm looking at page 104 on the bottom. Page 94 of the Zoom documents
94.
shows an application for wetlands agent approval.
Mhm.
Right. And so what I'm
So
saying
what
that
Ms. Washburn is saying is that it came in, filed one way. She's correct. She can't approve work in the wetlands. It needs the site plan, it needs the soil scientist report, et cetera, right up there at the top of that header, right there.
Right.
So it came in when? Again, after
Well, this came in on May
retired,
7th.
we were in flux.
Yes,
Yeah. So.
Oh, it's going to be a while to sort some of this out.
catch up. Yeah, Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes, so from our information provided to us by our agent and the facts that have been detailed, in as much as the agent isn't in a position to provide approval, and we make an individual application, and given the conflation, let's say, of the regulations and the applicant, then let's send this back and have it come in the form that we require in the present, which means individual application with all the supporting documents.
Thank you. Are the applicants here or representatives of the applicants? Can you state your name, please? And
Wesley Monson.
okay, that you're recognized. You are welcome to speak.
I was advised by the interim wetlands counsel, Cindy, to fill out this exact application. She did a site walk with me weeks prior to Margaret coming out and taking a look at the property. So I thought I was up to compliance based off of what I was told by the interim agent. I'm sorry I wasted you guys' time, but if that's
the only thing that's different, Wesley, is the first page. So the rest of the application can remain the same. It's just that the first page will be changed from a wetlands agent application to an individual permit. And so the fee is the same. It's just, I think
So
what's important is that they're looking for a wetland delineation and a site plan showing the work in relationship to the flags.
yeah, I was under the impression from the building office and everybody at the town hall that I wasn't required to have the property surveyed and professionally done. That's why I did my beautiful hand drawing that you're looking at right now. I just don't see the necessary requirements to have to do that after having 2 site walks. I'm more than welcome to invite anybody out to the property to take a look at it as necessary, but I don't feel the need to have to spend thousands of dollars on paperwork that I'm only to put the garage in. I'm only excavating 16 inches of material. You know what I'm saying?
So, Margaret, so this is the 5-foot, where my cursor is between the edge of the proposed garage.
If I may,
Margaret, I think he's about 5 feet off wetlands with that corner, and I think that where he's showing the boulders along the stream, that he's already filled wetlands along the edge of the stream, and he's already graded for this pad and removed substantial amounts of ledge or bedrock, and that's what he has put into the wetland on the edge of the stream. There's some photos in there on my report that'll show what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And did you go to the ZBA the other night, Wesley?
Yes, I did.
What happened?
No. I was approved.
It was approved.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so these are your, Margaret, tell me which photographs you want.
In the top left corner, it's where he says he dropped a stump on someone else's property and the dirt fell out of the stump. And that's very close or possibly in wetland on someone else's property.
It was my compost pile, my yard waste pile, my lawn clippings, maybe a stump or two, you know.
And so in the top right picture, you see the stream on the right side of the pile of boulders. And that's the intermittent water course where he piled the rocks right up on the bank of it, and or I think in the wetland itself.
And Margaret, I do believe that you held the end of the tape measure when we did measure 10 feet from the water course to the back corner of the garage as well.
Well, what I'm saying is that I think it's only 5 feet from the corner of the garage to the wetland that where you put the boulders.
Understandable, but what I'm saying is you were holding the tape measure. I was right alongside you and we measured 10, at least 10 feet from the intermittent stream.
Okay, so what is it supposed to be 100 feet within the, from the wetlands? Any work that's done in the upland review area, 100 feet within the wetlands needs to be done and documented correctly. If we don't, we wind up with lawyers. And if we got lawyers, we've got lawyer bills. This town cannot afford to pay for them. Neither should the applicant have to pay for them. Let's get it right. Let's get it right so that we don't have a problem.
Thank
That's
you.
that's what I'm trying to do, sir.
Yes,
Good.
that's clear.
I'm here.
Go, please. Go. Applicant, Mr. Monson. Did you wish to speak?
No, I was just saying that's why I'm here. I'm trying to
Okay.
do it perfectly and trying to do everything up to board. The only reason I did put the boulders there was to prevent water from flooding my basement when I first brought the property when I was 22 years old, 4 years ago.
Yeah, we appreciate your acting in good faith here. If I understand, Margaret, your reasoning, it is that it is ambiguous whether there is actually work being done in the wetland here, in which case a wetlands agent approval would not be appropriate. And so it really has to be an individual approval.
I think that he did work. He put the boulders. In my best guesstimate, he put boulders in the wetland on the edge of that stream, and so I can't approve work in the wetland.
Right. So
There's also a bridge. They also put a bridge across the stream, which I think there's a photograph of that.
Yes, I think I saw that. So the commission would have to review this as an application for an individual permit based on the information we have or any additional information that would support the application. Is this the bridge?
Yes, and I'm recommending a site plan with the delineation, and he needs a site plan. Is that Marla said the same thing?
Yes. Given the proximity to the wetlands and the very real possibility that there is work in the wetlands.
That doesn't mean that the applicant won't be able to do the work. It just means that it has to be documented correctly. And right now it's not.
So I'm required to pay for a survey and a site plan.
Unfortunately, you look at it that way and you're correct. You do have to pay for a surveyor because you're the one who wants to put a garage in next to the wetlands. And we got to make sure that the documentation is correct or we get sued.
By whom?
Well, we could get sued by a lot of people. And we could get sued. A lawsuit can also mean if the attorney general brings us to court because we failed to do our job. So
well, I think the fact, oh, I'm sorry. Please, Mr.
Let's make it right.
I don't
do, sir.
No, the facts are that the wetlands agent is not authorized to approve this application given the information we have before us. And again, the very real possibility that work is being done, not just in the upland review area, but in the wetlands itself. And so we would need to consider an individual application, which would have to include a site plan because that's what the regulations require. Am I correct, Margaret? Does that represent?
Right, yes, and just to clarify, it needs to be delineated by a soil scientist and have the flags shown on the plan relative to where the boulders are and where the other grading was done and where the garage is going to go. Basically, he just went ahead and did the work without the site plan And that,
Yeah, I
I
just
think,
did
I
the work.
think, I think
I
he
was
understands
laughing.
that he was
My
supposed to get the
apologies.
permit first.
So Margaret, was you are recommending, or are we sending this application back then? Are we denying it and requesting that it be resubmitted
Well,
as a?
there's a number of ways you could handle it. I could issue him a cease and desist order and a notice of violation if you want me to, and ordering him to get the site plan and the delineation, or unless he just, if it's really it's your call. If he agrees to do it, I mean, that'd probably be the appropriate route to document what's going on there.
Commissioners, thoughts on that? Commissioner
Yes.
Ober.
I don't want this to be adversarial. I understand the man wants to put in a garage. He's right up against the property line. He's right up against the wetlands.
Yeah.
He can still put it in. I understand he put the boulders there. I don't think we're going to ask him to pull them away, but we don't want him putting any more in until he measures where the wetlands, has a soil scientist mark off where the wetlands are. So I don't want it to be adversarial, but we have an obligation. So I misspoke when I said we would be sued. Although a neighbor could sue us, bring complaints against the Inland Wetlands Commission if they thought we weren't protecting the wetlands. You bought the property because of you like it. It's green. It's nice up there. Or maybe you bought it because you knew the owner, but
Well,
we want to keep it green.
We cannot approve it as a wetlands agent approval. And so we are requesting the site plan, a proper site plan, which would entail that a soil scientist delineate the wetlands. Yes, Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. I want to incorporate by reference my prior comments and suggest that based on our inland wetlands agent's comments, that it's not be an agent approval, that it be an individual application, and that when it's complete and sufficient, then we can evaluate it. I don't see any need to have him reapply. I mean, you've already paid the fee, and it doesn't appear there's any intent to, overstep. But clearly, now that it's been identified that the proper demarcations and flagging should be brought to the attention of the Commission for review and guidance going forward. So for that, those are my comments. Thank you.
Other commissioners agree with this?
Yes.
So Margaret, does that give you what you need to act in this case? Do we need a motion and a vote?
Well, I guess you could ask Mr. Monson if he's going to give you the site plan with the delineation on it, because if he's not, then unless you give him an order, you're not going to get it.
Ms. Washburn, we've already said that this is not the proper form. He made a request for an inland agent approval. We've all agreed that you weren't authorized to approve any work done within the 100-foot of the wetlands. And we've all agreed that it needs to be delineated by a soil scientist on an approved site plan. I believe that I heard the applicant saying, yeah, he didn't want any troubles either, but he also was concerned about $1,000 or $2,000 to have the property surveyed. It's on the wetlands, and it's his garage, so it's his responsibility. It's all of our liability, but it's his responsibility to have the form correct, because we can't approve it unless it's correct, unless we look at it and say, yeah, okay, he's in the wetlands, but he's not disturbing the soil. We can approve. We've approved things like that before.
Thank you, Commissioner Oger. So I'm not entirely sure how to proceed with this one. My sense is that we'll convey our decision to Mr. Monson in writing, that we cannot approve the request for a wetlands agent authorization. and that if the project is going to be approved, then we need an individual wetlands application with a site plan and wetlands properly delineated. If we do not receive that, then we'll see where we go from there.
That's conclusive.
But
Commissioner
Chair,
O'Neill.
yeah, I would put a time constraint on that response by the applicant. And if not done, then we have to address the existing work, right? And whether it be a cease and desist or other. But I think we need to give the applicant pause to reflect on what course of action they want to take, and embrace the commission's comments and observations.
Yes.
One thing that would have happened differently if he had come in for a permit before he did any of this work was that there would have been a limit of disturbance shown on the plan with some kind of sediment controls. That's where things went wrong. He did the work without getting any approval or having any approved sediment controls, and that's why the commission never would. I don't think the agent or the commission would have ever said it's okay to pile all these boulders right up to the edge of an intermittent water course, because they're considered material, and that material is fill.
Thank you. Commissioner Ober.
Yes, she brings up a very good point when she talked about erosion control to the applicant. Yeah, okay, you pay the guy to come in and look through the glass and tell you where the water is. But he also will provide the documentation that says, if you're going to work here, you have to have some sort of method to keep the mud out or the erosion out. So he provides you with guidance for working within that tight zone.
Thank you.
Sir, if you reflect to my site plan that's provided there, I do show erosion control that I had planned on putting in when I started the excavation of the garage. And when I did do the grading of the initial property, I put erosion control in until the property was stabilized, which it is now with vegetation and whatnot. I am a site contractor by trade, so I do know my way around a site package. I know I don't have actual printed plans, but it was a clear stream in my backyard that was overflowing into my basement. So I put a couple boulders along the edge to prevent the water from flowing from said stream to said basement. That's all I did. I had no intention of putting in garages, buildings, anything like that. I was only preventing my house from being deteriorated from water flow. That's all.
That was then, and I've already said.
And all I did was went down to the building office and tried to apply for the wetlands course, and this is the exact route they told me to take. So therefore, I know that I need to apply for a different application now. It's only a different first page, and everything else can stay the same. All that you need from me now is a soil test and a stamped plan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Documentation, yes.
And I think the wetlands agent will spell all of this out in her communication. And going back to Commissioner O'Neill's, I think, wise suggestion that we incorporated a time frame here. What you would consider reasonable, Margaret, would be 30 days. What is reasonable?
It could take 8 to 10 weeks for him to get a surveyor.
Okay, I was unsure about that.
I think 3 months would be fair.
Oh, other commissioners?
Yeah, 90 days would make sense to me. I mean, obviously, commission plus that would give a chance to evaluate, fund it, and get informed comments to move forward.
That sounds right to me.
Essentially, everything you said, Wesley, was correct. That it's the same. It's pretty much the same form. Just we got to change the front page. We'll put the same date of receipt, and you already paid. There's a couple things missing on item 4. You're supposed to put the street and road location and the closest telephone pole location, but that's easily filled in. So it just really boils down to a site plan with a delineation and a report from a soil scientist, and then in the end, the commission is going to be issuing the approval and not the agent. That's all.
Yes. Thank you.
A suggestion, if you're planning on putting more boulders along the stream, make sure that the person that comes out and surveys it knows that and they'll put that in the plan as well. Then it won't come up later.
I believe it's pretty well stabilized at this point, but I'll do everything you guys ask to be required.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Munson, for your understanding. And we all want to just get it right here.
As do I.
Looks like we're on track to doing that. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is this brings us to new applications. The first of which is substantial. So this is a subdivision 24017, Sanat Patel, 423 Passay Road, map 79, block 47, lot 10. Conceptual approval for a 4-lot subdivision with some work on proposed or on complete upland review areas, submitted May 16th, 2024, and statutorily received on June 11th, 2024, and inspected by our wetlands agent on June the 3rd. There is a lot here, Margaret. Maybe I'll just let you take the lead and share your impressions.
Is Janet with us?
I believe I saw her in the room.
Right. Yes, Janet Blanchett from J&D Civil Engineers is present at the meeting.
I think we should let Janet give her presentation first.
Okay, I agree. Janet, you are recognized.
If you, I originally submitted the application in May, and then I had the opportunity to meet Margaret at the site about a week ago, and she gave me some feedback, some comments, some items she'd like to see incorporated in the plans, which I did. So that's why there's 2 sets of plans, the May 13th set and the June 4th set. If you wouldn't mind advancing to the June 4th set, I think it's on page 124. I can walk through the project and describe it for the commission.
Large plan. So let me.
So if you wouldn't mind zooming out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. There we go.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, you can see that the site has frontage in the location map with Passay Road on the west and Stowicki Road on the east. And there's kind of a long dog leg to the north. Within that dog leg is Stout Brook, so that's an area that's actually, we'll see on subsequent sheets, a suggestion to the Conservation Commission as a conservation area for open space. So the land is really steep near Stowicki Road. There's all of the development of the proposed 4 lots of this subdivision are off of Passay Road. And I think it might be appropriate to go to the next sheet and we can review the A2 survey subdivision map. This shows the wetlands delineated. On the left-hand side within the green is where Stout Brook enters the property, and then it crosses underneath Passay Road in a culvert to the other side, because actually north, I don't want to be confusing to anyone. North is to the left. Because of the shape of the property, we oriented this plan with north to the left. In the center of the property, you can see a flagged wetland that the soil scientists flagged. That is uphill of the development activities on those 4 lots that are in the frontage of Passay Road. And you'll be able to see that better on the following sheet 3, which is the site development plan. So with this colored sheet, I think it gives a better idea what's going on. You know, to the left is Stout Brook. Up in the top of the sheet is the wetland, which, like I said, is uphill of those 4 proposed lots. Another interesting fact about this property, it's 18.6 acres in size. And over where lot 1 is to the left, there was an old historic house and barn. They were completely dilapidated and not lived in for years. So they have been removed. They just recently, I think in the last 6 months, they were demolished. So the house on the left will actually, the subdivision lot 1 will actually use the existing driveway that went to the old house that was demolished. There is a wetland across the street that at the Toa slope, which is the bottom of this plan. So the upland review area for the wetland across the street does extend into the lower parts of these lots. There's not really any activity in there except for the driveways. There's a culvert right in the center of the sheet near the arrow, and we'll see later on some of the nice photographs that Margaret took. That's one of those kind of dangerous old school culverts that we have so many of under our roads, where the pipe is right at the edge of the pavement. It's a steep drop off. There's no area upstream for settling. It's just not a good situation. So they're proposing a shared driveway that's going to go to subdivision lot 2 and 3. And so this is a kind of a good opportunity to improve the inlet flow to that culvert by constructing like a sediment basin or sediment forebay. And so the design on this plan was something I discussed with the Public Works Director. And that's one of the focuses of what Margaret and I were looking at, and it's detailed on the next sheet. But while we're still on this sheet, I can show you some of the comments I incorporated from the field notes of the visit with Margaret. Basically, I added the limit of disturbance all around the work. And even though the work in the backyard of those houses, like the wetland is uphill, but we wanted to have a delineation so that the contractor wouldn't stockpile material or anything there within the upland review area. So we actually have a note about putting temporary construction fence inside the, uphill of the houses, inside, right at the limit of disturbance, which is slightly inside the 100-foot upland review area from that wetland that's uphill of the lots. Some of the other features, I added some areas of erosion control and some details with inverts of the proposed cross culvert under the shared driveway. Perhaps this is an appropriate time to advance to the next sheet, which shows a cross section through the sediment basin. And just looking at these test pits does remind me that we have been approved by the Northeast District Department of Health for septic systems. So it's on the left-hand side of this sheet, the bottom left.
Am I right here? Oh, I see. It's a big sheet.
So this shows, a cross section through where, instead of being a steep slope coming right down to the culvert, which no storage room, a little small basin will be excavated, and the stone walls in the vicinity right along the front property line will be removed for driveway sightline. So the proposal is to use those stones that are right on site and just kind of line that whole basin with it. So the roadway runoff will have a place to settle out. The highway department will have a place where they can excavate sand and sediment, and the culvert inlet will be further from the road, so it'll be safe for motorists. And another feature that Joe, the Public Works Director, and I discussed was on the property, there's other cross culverts not in the vicinity of the proposed development, but all of those will be granted drainage easements so that in the future, if the town needs to do any work, maintenance, culvert replacement, they'll have the ability to do that without getting permission from the property owners. I think are the photos after this? That's one thing I can't remember.
This is Margaret's report.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some photos. You can see how the head wall is right at the edge of the curb, especially the middle picture on the top. You can see how a car could just like drive right into that. So that's the area that proposed. I think some of the skunk cabbage are probably from across the street. That one view on the left middle. Is that correct, Margaret?
Yes.
So that's from the wetland across the street. The really large stone wall that's in the second sheet of photos in the top middle is actually in the proposed area that we suggested for conservation near Stout Brook. I guess, there's a photo of the existing driveway to the house.
So one of the things Janet pointed out is that the frontage on the conservation easement land is just about equal to the length of the frontage on the proposed subdivision, and it's 4 acres that will be permanently protected, or approximately. Is that right, Janet?
Yes, and that would be, you can see the whole thing there on that sheet. The property has a lot of frontage, but the proposed development area in terms of the whole 18.6 acres is relatively concentrated towards that one section of Passay Road. There's nothing whatsoever proposed up near Stowicki Road.
Thank you for the presentation. Do commissioners have any questions? Commissioner Ober.
Yeah, I'm looking at page 125. Am I correct that the lot has frontage? I'm sure you said it, but I look at it, it seems odd. That it has frontage on Passay and Stillwicky Road?
All 4 lots have frontage on Passay and Stowicki.
So when I look at this and I see if the houses were built over at Stillwicky instead of this side, you wouldn't be close to the wetlands at all, would you?
I'm sorry, the quality of, I don't know if something's breaking up. I didn't really hear the question.
I
Commissioner
don't know.
Ober.
We're going to do a site walk on this. It just seems odd the way that it goes all the way through and the back side of it, which is also downhill from this bog area. It's more open looking to me, but
Actually, the land between the wetland and Stowicki Road is very steeply sloping, and it is uphill of the wetland. So work done up off Stowicki Road, the sediment would flow towards the wetland, whereas where Janet's showing it, the wetland is uphill of all the work, so no sediment will flow towards the wetland.
so we have to approve this by vote, or do we go out to look at it first, or
Do we
if
accept?
any of these are going to be further developed, they have to come in for a separate application. When they want to put a house in on lot 2 or lot 4, that's a separate application. That's not what this is.
This is conceptual.
That's correct.
So I need someone to teach me here. Is this something that we can vote on at tonight's meeting, or is this something we accept and vote on at our next?
You can, and I would recommend approving it if you want to entertain that motion.
Yes,
Robert.
because each subsequent lot has to come back in for inland's application. We can approve the concept and say, I don't see any real problem with that. Without doing the site walk, I suppose so. Janet's showed pretty much integrity, and she says if a house can go in there, probably can. But I don't think we need a site walk for this. We need a site walk if somebody buys a lot and wants to build the house,
Mhm.
then they have to come back for an application for approval.
Indeed. Thank you. Well, I will entertain a motion to approve or conceptual approval of this project.
Commissioner O'Neill, I make a motion that we approve as outlined in the application.
The motion is made. Do I have a second for that motion?
Come on, David, it's your turn.
I'll
And the
second.
chair, second?
I'll second.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Any discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? None. This project is conceptually approved. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, for a very helpful
Thank you.
presentation. Item on the agenda is Wetlands Agent Authorization 24019, Lauren Miller, 25 Indian Run Drive, map 141, block 17, lot 17, to construct and I think this must be a 24 by 48 foot garage. A 24-inch by 48-inch garage would be
Oh,
for a something. With a 10 by 30 foot and 10 by 48 foot lean-tos, submitted May 2nd, 2024, under review.
well, I went out and did the inspection, and before I could issue an approval, we need health department approval, and we need a report from the natural diversity database.
And we are awaiting those still. So there is really no action for us to take at this time.
No, and since it's an agent approval, I will be issuing it anyway when the time comes.
Okay, excellent. So moving on to Wetlands Agent Approval 24020. This is Neil Patel, 96 Main Street, map 169, block 88. Lot 53, an apartment building and parking lot in the Upland Review area, submitted on June 4th, 2024. Have I overshot here? No, here it is.
This is another application for an agent approval, and
Yes.
I wanted to wait till the commission saw it before I issue.
No wetlands on the property.
It's the edge of Backwater Brook. I actually was the person who delineated it, and in the interest of transparency, I was hired with everyone at the town understanding that I've delineated a lot of wetlands in town, and that I would eventually be approving a project where I had flagged wetlands or water course, and so this is the first one of those.
And you didn't know that you'd be stepping into this job at the time.
There used to be a building on this lot exactly the same size as the house that's right across Backwater Brook. That's the Phelps house. And this is where the water flows out of Duhamel's Pond.
Right.
And it's all the edge of the stream is all either a stone retaining wall or concrete retaining wall. And so it's a 6 apartment building. And I suppose Janet should be giving her presentation. Is
Yes.
Janet still with us?
Are you
Yes.
still here? Thank you.
Yes, I'm still here. I mean, this is one of the few vacant lots down in North Grosvenordale, and when the new zoning came about, one of the things was to promote infill development where there's already existing infrastructure, water, sewer, roads. And so this property is being proposed for a multifamily house, which is a special permit in the zone. The entire lot, since it's only 0.26 acres, is within the 100 foot upland review area of Backwater Brook. which as Margaret said, is basically a channelized structure. It's not a natural stream at this location. It's tucked in between a building and a retaining wall. The site actually slopes to the right, which is towards Main Street, in the front where the parking area is. And the parking lot is proposed to be crushed stone, so it'll be pervious. It's extremely flat. It's only like 1 to 2% slope. And the runoff from the roof will head into a rain garden for infiltration. So, those are the features that have been incorporated into the project for stormwater management.
With facultative wetland plants. Commissioners have any questions about this application?
Is this where the ducks were, or were the ducks at lot 34 or 54? I've been down in the back in that area doing water sampling off of that pond. And I know one area had a lot of ducks in the backyard, and I didn't know if that was where this one was.
That's a good question. I used to do water sampling there too with Judy Rondo. I don't recall the ducks though, I'm sorry.
Margaret, what is your recommendation on this?
I will issue the agent approval after I go out and do another inspection.
Right. And you can look for ducks when you're there.
Okay.
All
It's
right.
a beautiful view of the pond.
So there is no more action for us to take at this time, pending your inspection. Am I correct in that?
Well, there, if you want to move on, it's going to be some kind of an election of a new treasurer later on.
Oh, no, I know we have other business to do. I mean, in terms of this application,
No, it's all set.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ober. Commissioner Obert, I think you're muted. You are muted.
Yes, even though it's within the 100-foot of the upland review area, if it's within the exact footprint of a pre-existing structure, which is to be replaced, I think it can be done with a wetlands agent approval and not have to come back for a full permit. I'm not sure.
Oh, I think it can be done, am I mistaken, Margaret? It can be a wetlands agent approval in any case.
Because there's no work in wetlands.
That's right.
And I don't think the building's necessarily exactly in the same footprint as what it was shown on the old topo map, but that's really, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It just, the fact that there's no work in wetlands is what makes it possible to be an agent approval.
It's only in the upland review area.
Right, to a water course.
Right. Okay, so
close to the stream.
are we ready to move on to agenda item EC? These are applications received after the agenda was published. And we have DE, so declaratory ruling 24021, Jeffrey and Karen Halliwell, map 61 block 59 lot 1, map 61 block 59 lot 1B, map 59 block 62 lot 48. And these are all related to timber harvest. We received some additional information on this.
Is Mike Bartlett with us? He was here earlier.
Let me see if I can find some participants.
There is a Michael Bartlett listed.
Yes.
Maybe they can't find the mic. They're muted. The mic is muted.
Mr. Bartlett, are you?
Yes, there it is.
Right, son. find him.
There we go. I think I've got it now.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yes, Mike Bartlett here, forester with Hull Forest Products. Submitting this notice here as request for agent approval. It's kind of a unique situation in that we have the old trolley bed. This property has been harvested by Hull Forest Products in the past. It was roughly 1998, 99, 2000. You have the old trolley bed that runs through this property. And there was a couple spots where Mr. Halliwell had desired to put in culverts some time ago. The culverts are laying out there, but were never installed. So I think, from my perspective with this, it's a timber harvest. The easiest way for us to do it would be to just put in temporary mats and these wet spots or crossings. But the culverts are there. I said I would approach the commission and see how they'd like to handle it. So it could be, that's why we have the option A or B on these. So the old trolley bed goes through there. In some places there's seeps, groundwater seeps out of the side uphill slope and into the trolley bed. Some places it, runs down the trolley bed a little bit and then crosses off of it. So that's kind of what we're thinking there. The yarding areas are kind of openings on the side of the trolley bed on the property of Mr. Halliwell that were used for landing areas previously as well.
I'd like to clarify something, Mike. When you started talking, you said it was a request for agent approval, and it really isn't.
Jurisdictional ruling, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I just want to make sure everybody understood.
It should be a jurisdictional ruling.
Yeah. And I talked to Mike about the options here, and if they chose to do the culverts, it's my opinion that they would need to come in for individual permits for the culverts, because they're where streams would flow through, and so Mike said if that was the case that he would probably opt just to not to do the culverts and just to use the mats or other temporary.
That's
So
correct. I mean,
I would if the commission wants to approve this tonight as a declaratory ruling, I think they should select the options that are not culverts, and then it's no problem to approve it.
So that would be option A.
Right.
In the two cases that apply.
Wetland crossing 1 would be option A, and wetland crossing 5 would be option A.
Mm-hmm.
So you may want you actually can't put conditions in a declaratory ruling, but you could get Mike to agree that he's going to use option A for those two crossings.
Yes, I agree with that completely. Not a problem.
Commissioner Obert.
I make a motion that we approve option A for declaratory ruling to follow.
Do I have a second on that from Commissioner O'Neill?
Commissioner O'Neill, I second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you for your time.
None. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Bye now.
You're welcome. Bye.
No permit extensions or changes, violations, and enforcement actions. Mr. Bear, violation 21036, permit IWA 20022, Mark Bear, 1227 Thompson Road, map 116, block 24, lot 10, grades not as authorized in modified plan approved by the commission on February 9th, 2021. So Margaret, it sounds as if something is happening here.
Well, I went out there and did an inspection to understand the situation, and Mr. Bear's first contractor was named Wall, and I don't know how many of you, some of you must have been on the commission through this whole ordeal, and he started out putting something too far out into the pond, and Marla indicated that they decided that it would be less of a mess to let him leave that there than to remove it. And then he proceeded to put up a whole bunch of a series of retaining walls. So the site is terraced, and the site is almost completely stabilized now, except that the septic system was being put in, and they needed to put in one set of stairs on the lowest terrace. And so I think in my opinion, if they finish the site work and they're going to have to submit an as-built plan for the whole project in order to get their certificate of occupancy. I am hoping that it's under contract for the end of June, that by the end of June, the site will be stabilized and we will get the as-built and can do a final inspection and hopefully close this one out.
Thank you. So the certificate of occupancy is our leverage here.
Right.
Right. Other commissioners, any thoughts?
Yes, Ms. Washburn was correct. We need to see an as-built that meets the specifications as were approved.
Mhm.
Because that contractor that he had was doing a lot of things that weren't quite right. And he's the one that's responsible for it, not the contractor.
Mhm. Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes, I would just echo some of the comments, but I would say that let's make sure that the requirements are met. And I know that throughout the process, which has been a couple of years, there's always outstanding items that had to be corrected. So, let's make sure that the specifications are met and as the proposed construction meets the requirements. And if that's the case, then as you point out, we should be able to move forward.
As built, yes. Forward.
When the time comes, are you going to rely on me to do that final inspection, or are you going to want to take a look at the site yourselves?
Commissioners?
I'm willing to join you. I've been watching it all the way through. I've been out there with Marla because she had her broken foot. And so I was going out there all the time.
I was going to say I've only been on this commission for a few months, but I've heard so much about this. I think I have to see it.
Okay, when we get that as-built, we'll schedule at the following meeting, we'll schedule a group site, a site inspection together.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner O'Neill, you look like you had some thoughts?
No, nothing else. Thank you very much.
Okay, not at all. All right, so you have what you need to proceed, Margaret, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Where's the site? Wow. Violation 23013, Wojcik, Sudica, 1574 Riverside Drive, map 55, lot 65, lot 14. Grading work exceeded scope of work authorized by permit, IWA 21028, issued in May 22nd of 2023.
I am going to the site on Monday at 9 o'clock with Daniel Blanchette, and this is an email from him.
Yes.
Explaining his perspective on what the last time he was there, and that he wants to assess it himself for what it looks like now.
This sounds rather messy to me, but your trained eye can probably make sense of it.
For your history on this, Margaret, if you haven't heard it already, there's a dam which is essentially on the line with Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And there's some complication with the water flow through that area and not being able to contact the right people in Dudley or in Hartford for dam management. There's been other issues with dams, and when Dan Malo was in your chair at the office, it's not even the same office anymore. When he was there, he did do some work with the guy from Hartford because of the North Grosvenordale Pond dam. So he had that guy's name, but I don't think he had a chance to completely track this down. Maybe you do know who to contact over there, but it's exacerbated by the fact that it's right there on the. With George, you went out there with me. Was there some issue with the integrity of that dam? I think so, but I don't remember exactly.
if I could comment, you know, I attended that initial site inspection, and I think we all saw the proposed work and then the execution of it, which has been outlined by the engineer. And there were questions as to, you know, where does the water flow from the dam? Also, there were concerns over proper drainage, proper culverts, riparian pathways, and a few other items. So this project certainly poses a number of challenges for the owner, as well as the commission to ensure the integrity of the wetlands is maintained. If you drive by it now, it's still in a state of, you know, I guess disturbance, right? And so, you know, I look to subject matter experts to give us guidance as to what next steps.
Yes.
I walked the site before any work was done there because someone asked me if I would flag the wetlands, and I opted not to get involved because I got the impression that the applicant was going to do whatever he wanted no matter what. And so I did see Perry Pond, and I did see the mysterious dam, and I saw the culvert under the Route 12, which Daniel says now thinks he only has a capacity of a 4-inch pipe or less. And if in his email it says that it talks about trying to get the dam registered, and it says Marla tried to get the owner to register this dam with DEEP, dam safety, but they told her it's the responsibility of Massachusetts because they thought the dam was over the state line. So, plus he's exceeded the scope of work, and so this is going to be an uphill battle, but I'm going to go out and get a good look at it with Daniel, and when I come back, I can report to you about where we think it should be going from here.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to hearing more about this in July.
Okay.
Thank you. You've been very busy in your first few weeks on this job.
I've been very busy, yes.
It's the season. So I have under other business, on the posted agenda, we have the election of a new treasurer. Now I'm hearing crickets. Is this, do I have any nominations for, since our treasurer has resigned from the commission? Can we nominate Commissioner Morano in absentia?
That's what I'm laughing about.
That's a good idea. I like that because
I'll second that.
I withdraw any names here, but Morano's not here, and she would be an excellent candidate.
Has anyone asked Fran yet whether she would accept such nomination?
I should probably ask her.
Oh, we should defer the decision until we have some
Wales.
Yeah. So perhaps we'll defer that until our next meeting. I do have a somewhat related matter of business to introduce. David, you are currently an alternate, but we are one regular member short on this commission with the resignation of Commissioner Chapin. Are you interested in becoming a regular member of the commission?
Yes.
Wonderful. We'd appreciate that. So that is a change that is something that the Board of Selectmen will have to approve at their next meeting. And hopefully that will all be taken care of before our next meeting, at which point, if Commissioner Morano is not agreeable to becoming the treasurer, perhaps someone will nominate you.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I see that Amy St. Ange is on a you know, she might not be hanging on every word, but yeah. If this is something we certainly all approve of the enthusiasm that we saw from our alternate.
Yes, we agree. He'd be most welcome as a regular member of the commission. And I've heard from Amy indirectly that the selectmen are prepared to act on that. But I don't know when their next meeting is. But,
our next meeting, this is Amy St. Ange. Our next meeting is Tuesday, and if the commission wishes, we can add that to the agenda. And it's just a matter of reappointing to the permanent position versus alternate.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll look forward to that. That's very helpful. The review of the bylaws. I understand that it is written into the bylaws that we are supposed to review the bylaws at our April meeting. The bylaws are rather ambiguous on this point, though. They indicate that review should take place at the meeting, but that's not entirely feasible. And then we indicate any changes to the bylaws that we are interested in making. We can amend the bylaws by unanimous vote. We could do it now by 2/3 vote, but it would have to appear on the agenda for the next meeting. Do we have any further thoughts on, Margaret, do you have any further thoughts on this, reviewing the bylaws? Is that?
I reviewed the bylaws today at length, and it does seem to me that reviewing it once a year isn't a bad idea, because it reminds everybody of kind of the framework under which we operate. And I would like to try to streamline things a little bit, but being so new, I didn't feel like I was really ready to make any recommendations and changes to the bylaws at this point, and I put that in my report.
Right. Thank you. Commissioner Ober, your hand.
Yes. When we went through the process of reviewing the documents that had to go out for town approval, I remember this came up, and we have regularly addressed the bylaws, because we can do that with a simple majority. We can do that in-house. We don't have to go out in front of the town. I have not read them in a while, and Ms. Washburn brings up a valid point. It is certainly worth doing. I do think that they are in functioning order, and I can't, off the top of my head, think of like 2 years, 2.5 years since we had any issues that went through the bylaw changes.
Chair?
Yes, Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes, thank you. We've looked at the bylaws periodically over the last, 7 or 8 years, and I think we've made incremental changes. And I think it speaks for itself that we haven't run into any major stumbling blocks, right? It's like, oh no, we can't do something, the bylaws don't allow it.
Right.
So I think, a review periodically is a good idea. And I think, and I know that we've had just adjustments and refinements, to reflect current needs. So it's sort of like not an exigent situation, but a good practice, I think. But and
yes,
Margaret's got excellent points when she said, "Look, I'm new. Let's take and see how they go." It seems like every time we look at these as one tiny thing, I suppose we could all make changes, but are they, needed? Or are they just, some of these things are style points, I think, the ways we like to do things. So just my observations. Thank you.
Commissioner Ober.
Yes, Commissioner O'Neill's correct. The last time that I recall having to change them, we lowered the number of people necessary to meet the quorum. And that was like 2.5 or 3.5 years ago. So we're keeping it current, but yeah, it's a good idea to review it.
I guess my question would be, what do we mean by periodic? We can either postpone this until our next organizational meeting, which would be in April of 2025, or we can all agree to review the bylaws and consider any possible changes at our next meeting.
My opinion would be to push it to a year, 12 months, unless we feel there's some problem that we're stumbling over, like Commissioner Ober pointed out. And by then, again, we have basically a new commission, so new folks have different views, and they want to make changes, and that's good. I mean, that's part of evolution, so it's not a right or wrong thing. It's we can always get better.
Actually, something came up when I was thinking about it today. Has to do with Diane Chapin's resignation. The bylaws say that it's supposed to be a resignation is supposed to be made in writing to the chairman, who will then pass it on to the first selectman. And that might be something that whenever you get around to it, that, as Diane pointed out, this is 2024, and maybe there's a way to say that a resignation could be made virtually via email instead, and that
Well,
it could be made directly to the chairman, which, I mean, I'm sorry, to the selectmen, but whatever, however you'd like, if you want, maybe that's one thing you could reconsider.
But actually, I think, to Margaret's point, I think Diane, in fact, did make that resignation to the chair, and she did it by email, which, if you look at the current statutory oversight of digital, there's a digital act or a digital legal act that is incorporated in most jurisdictions now, where you don't need to wet signatures and everything, and the digital forms the same. I believe, again, this is a question for council, really. It's a legal question. But I think that serves the purpose, and it in fact rises to the same level. So all the chair needs to do is forward it on to the Board of Selectmen, which I think almost by default he's done, but make sure that's the case. Because I read the same exact thing. I said, well, she's already written to the chair, and that's the case. But I live in the world of digital transactions all day long, and every so often that comes up, and I was always pointed to there's a federal or act, and then the states adopted them. So I think we might want to look into that part. So I don't know if we have to modify our requirements. It's just that it's the sequence, or the chain of command, so to speak, right? Commissioner to chair to all Board of Selectmen.
Right. Or simultaneously to all of the above.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
right. All right. Well, if other commissioners are comfortable at leaving things as they are, and we'll look forward at our next organizational meeting in April to reviewing the bylaws, and maybe we'll do our homework and take a look at them in advance. Thank you.
Great.
Next item on the agenda: citizens' comments on agenda items. Do we have citizens in the meeting who wish to speak? We had some people, but I'm not seeing any hands. Okay, moving on to agenda item J, reports, budgets and expenditures, Margaret's report and correspondence. The budget is, from what I can tell, 70% has been spent, and we have we have 2 months left to go. Looks good to me. Margaret, does it look all right to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Seems to be where we ought to be. Any budgetary considerations? That's something maybe you want to think about over time. Signing of Mylars. Is this the one I signed, or is this another
Yes.
one? Okay, so that's taken care of. Oh, and I'm skipping over your report, which you made available to us today. Would you like me to put that up on the screen?
If you want to.
Okay, because I don't need any more of this. So let me stop sharing that, and let me start sharing something else. Where are you? There you are. Okay, so there you go. Is everybody seeing Margaret's report?
yes.
Good. So we have a violation here, Margaret, that is
Right, and there's a inspection report and photos attached.
right.
I'm going to be issuing a certified notice of violation requiring the owner to come to the next meeting.
Yes. Excellent. Any is this? Would you require further comment?
No.
Okay.
And there was no correspondence to report.
Right. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to put that back up there. Comments by commissioners. It's 2 minutes, what, 4 minutes to 9. So, oh, Commissioner O'Neill.
I have a comment. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, I think we've, I appreciate Ms. Washburn's insightful commentary. I also appreciate the comments of other commissioners, Commissioner Overt and others. Another thing to keep in mind is, where possible, and I don't want to restrain, or I don't want to recommend or suggest or comment that it's not important to go into detail, but where possible, I think paraphrasing, dense technical information can be beneficial. And so where possible, we should perhaps, at least I encourage us to strive to do that, to paraphrase comments. Like, I do appreciate Margaret sending around her report rather than having to read it verbatim during the meeting, because that can make it efficient and expedient for this overall operation of our commission. So where possible, let's be concise, and that would be my recommendation. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Sure, I
you.
would second that. It's we have an awful lot of material to wade through sometimes.
We do. We do. I'd like to retouch the point that I made to an applicant earlier. We're not trying to be adversarial, but we do have responsibilities. I take them seriously. We're representing the town and we're defending the environment. And it's a tough battle, especially when there's no money available. I understand the difficulty that an applicant has. Oh my gosh, I got to go out and pay $1,000 or $2,000 for somebody to stamp a piece of paper. But if you ask the right questions, he solves all the problems at once, and we solve our responsibilities. So I'll be hardline on that. I hope that I don't offend people. If I offend people for the sake of the environment, I'm sorry, but somebody's got to defend them. I take it seriously.
Thank you for those comments. We have to be transparent and fair, playing by the rules. I agree. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll look forward to our next meeting on July the 9th, and I will entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Second, David.
Welcome, David. Good night.
Welcome. Yes.
Good night.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So not,
Thank you.
thank you all for your good work. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you too. Good
Thank you,
night,
Margaret.
Nimble.
Good
You're
job.
Good
welcome.
night, everyone.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Good night.